Julia snatched the last page of the report from the printer's grip and dashed for her mobile. The ringtone indicated a personal call. Her hand trembled, and her even heartbeat suddenly thumped hard at the displayed caller ID. Its backlight suddenly felt too bright against the aged fluorescent tubes overhead. The long habit of focusing on odds and actions forward stilled her hand, and Julia's voice sounded calm. "Hi, Dr. Dan. This is unexpected." All the important labs came back clear. "Julia," the doctor reported brightly. "Thanks, Doc. You didn't have to call." "I had promised I'd drop in on Saturday," protested Julia. "It would have been 3 more days of worry for you." Don replied, his tone undimmed. "I don't let stuff worry, Doc. It is what it is." "You can only do what you can," replied Julia. The words rolled freely off her tongue. "Now, what about the unimportant ones? Am I low on iron, or did something else cause my fatigue? Or should I come in for those so you can scold me in person?" The question led to him repeating the list of supplements he wanted her to take, but he didn't mention the psychologist referral provided during her last visit. When the call ended, Julia slipped her mobile away and refocused on her computer to check the last problem tickets with updates due. Once her list was clear, she quickly shut off the laptop with a relieved sigh. Deleting the thread and his contact information from the phone, she tucked it away and considered herself again in the polished steel. Aside from the split ends, she didn't see what was wrong with her, and those were something a straight guy wouldn't notice. Her bust fit her tall and lean runner's build, but she was a fairly stereotypical white Aussie with no obvious physical issues. Her complexion was fine, her chin was tight, and her face was strong without being hard. Maybe her bow-lipped mouth was fractionally too wide, but if her face appeared too strong, that was their problem. Weariness weighed her shoulders, and she glanced at the slowly revolving doors that featured prominently in the foyer's front wall. In the quiet, the brush seals at their base rasped annoyingly on the carpet within their circles. Like the gate, the rotating doors had trapped her previously, and with no security guard in sight, she had no plans to become a summer barbecue. Approaching the side door, Julia winced at the heat that radiated from it like a heated oven door. With a quick push to work the latch, she shouldered it forward to avoid burning her hand. The harbor's salty air, the sad cries of the gulls, the charcoal smell, and the oppressive heat hit her like a sandbag. As she stepped outside, Julia breathed through her nose, futilely endeavoring to lessen the bitter taste of the ash-filled air. The ongoing state of Sydney left her once enjoyable walk across Pyrmont Bridge to the parking station an unpleasant prospect. Out from under the building awning, it was the first time she'd seen the vicious-looking sky all day. The clouds of ash looming overhead had started months ago, and they blotted out what should have been a blue summer sky. Instead, it was as if some bizarre hellscape had descended on Sydney, enveloping it in black and gray clouds. The sunlight that filtered through them carried an angry, otherworldly tint that lent the familiar buildings a surreal, alien feeling. One boring song turned into another. She was still stuck at the lights, and the drivers from the side street took every gap in the traffic. So, when the announcers began to babble without first providing the vaguest clue about what route to take home, she almost turned it off. Eventually, the news started. It wasn't about what she wanted, but word on the fire fronts prompted Julia to turn the volume back up. When the news moved on, Julia went to change the station. As she stretched to hit the seek button, her world tilted, swaying. Julia felt the car lurch and forced herself to yank on the handbrake, making it just before her foot slipped off the brake. A whirlpool of vertigo threatened her with losing lunch, and she scrambled to move between handbrake and gears. Amidst the worsening pressures, the rush to put the car into park didn't help her to regain any control over the spinning horizon. A sudden rush of strange sensations shifted inside her, and the world twisted. Gravity seemed to weigh her down and spin about her, a brutal graviton amusement ride. The heat in the car grew distant and divorced, stolen away. Pain churned in her brain, and even the smoke-muted daylight became a searing agony. The vertigo intensified and bile rose in the back of her throat, the taste and sensation making her gag before a wall of gloom smashed into her mind. A wave of heat rose from deep in her guts and tore through her flesh before it boiled her brain. Julia was dead when she slumped against the wheel, and her body ignited. A blaze of flame that the rearview mirror reflected to the terror-stricken driver behind her. Her still idling car shifted slightly against its leash but remained safely behind the line. As the essence of darkness crept into her pores and smothered her eyes, the agony abruptly vanished, and nothing remained but a nightmare of fatigue. The absence of pain was as sudden as the onset, and she gasped in relief, only for the torpid gloom to ooze down her throat like a living thing. Julia gagged reflexively, and then deliberately coughed in a desperate bid to force it out, but the alien shadow had enveloped her and invaded every cell. She couldn't breathe, couldn't even feel the need to breathe, let alone cough or scream. There was no heat or pressure, no itches or tingles, just nothing. After an eternity that might have been a moment, the formless void was bypassed by a bright blazing message in her disembodied mind. Unlocks, damned details, just that, damned. A cursed state, inflicted by someone with access to an object of significant power. Reward, race changed. See, profile upon planar arrival for the outcome. Note, knowing who was responsible won't help you now. She didn't have time to read that first notification properly before being hit with more. It was like the worst advertising pop-up spam, with never-ending windows appearing in her mind's eye. Though they brightened inside her mind, they did nothing to ease the darkness. Each seemed to tag memories as they catalogued her life, and the invisible force peeled her life open like an onion, drawing scalpel-thin slices through one layer at a time.